everybody, and welcome to our Fireside chat today. I'm Liz Gonzalez here on the marketing team at Copper, and today I have with me a special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, I'm Kyle Bastien. I'm the Director of Sales Enablement at Copper, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Today we're going to cover a topic that I know is very near and dear to Kyle's heart, and that is how to build and train a stellar sales team. So in order to kick this off, I thought I'd ask you a question. So what is your definition of a stellar sales team?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, obviously a team that is like delivering against the number and like getting great results, but that's more of an outcome. Like when I think of what does a stellar sales team look like day to day, the best way to describe it is just people who play for the love of the game. You know, they're very engaged in their work, they're very accountable with their performance and holding themselves to a high standard when they're in front of customers and on the floor, and really just have a lot of fun doing what they're doing. And if you have that, then generally results tend to follow.
So let's tackle this question. How do you go about hiring a sales team?
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple ways you can go about it. You can either hire people who are kind of blank slates, like less experienced, that you can kind of coach and develop in-house, or you can hire seasoned, experienced salespeople and hope they're going to be a little bit more plug and play. So at Copper, we do a mix of both, but generally we de-emphasize experience, and there's some pretty good reasons why. That's not to say that sales experience is not important. It certainly is, and it's more of a table stake, I guess, for getting an in-person interview. But we spent a lot of time thinking about like what are the attributes of a outstanding sales professional that tend to be harder to coach and that will more predictably give you that kind of culture that you're looking for, where everyone's really playing for the love of the game. And so here, like what we've identified as the ones that generally portend success at the highest rate is coachability and the willingness and ability to learn, accountability, which we define as owning your results and your work product 100%, resilience, which is the ability to continue to learn in the face of failure, which is going to be a part of any job, but certainly a part of sales, and integrity.
So once you've found the good people that you want to hire and take on, like how do you go about training them into the methodology that you'd like them to follow?
Yeah, for sure. Well, so I've been the sales trainer here at Copper for about a year and a half now, and I'll be the first to tell you that sales training doesn't work really well. What does work really well is sales coaching, right? And so the model that we built here is end to end between coaching and training. And so I think what you see a lot of times in a lot of organizations, and I've certainly been guilty of doing this in the past, is I can pull people into a room and I can do a PowerPoint or a role play session with them. I can train them till we're blue in the face. But what happens is about a third of the group will leave the meeting and kind of get it right away and be able to apply it and internalize it and make it their own. Another third will try to do it, but it'll be a little ham-fisted and need a little refining and work. And then the other third will just go back to doing what was comfortable and what they were doing before, as if it had never happened, right? And there tends to be a lack of follow-through on training. And so training in its own, that's what I mean when I say it's not effective, because it doesn't drive a change in behavior. When someone's actually talking with the customer and doing what they do best, which is building that relationship and providing true value in every communication that you have with the customer. So the model we do, we call it tell, show, do, reinforce, and own. And those are the 5 steps to the training framework that we apply here. What that looks like in real life is, if we're talking about whether it's a product offering or a sales motion like discovering or asking for the business or managing a trial, we'll tell them kind of like the theory behind it. Like, why are we doing it the way that we're doing, and how does it compare to other approaches to this that we've decided not to employ here at Copper. And then we will demonstrate what that behavior looks like, either through myself or someone else on the team that excels at this. We will ask them to practice it. That can either happen through a learning management software that we employ here called LearnCore, or it could just be something that we do in role play sessions. And then they have to actually do it in front of a customer. Traditionally, training takes us through the kind of do part. The reinforce part is actually the most important part of the process. We use gong.io to record every one of our customers' sales conversations, and then we go back and do kind of like point training on whatever we were working on in the classroom. And we want to make sure that what they're actually doing when they're talking to a customer is what we've practiced before, what we've trained on, and that you can listen to the customer cues and whether it's actually effective and how are our clients actually responding to it. At that point, they really own it, and so if we can, see certification all the way through to effective usage with a customer, that's, where the training and coaching model is complete, and then if it's not done, it becomes more of a behavioral issue than a training one.
Got it. Yeah, that sounds very comprehensive, end to end. So once they're already fully trained and you've got this reinforcement model, how do you go about measuring their success?
Sure. So, there's I guess, well, obviously in their outputs, right? I think the key to the kind of flow culture and model that we talked about at the beginning is really like focusing on your inputs. The kind of like the one thing, like if I could like bottle this and give it to every salesperson and they just take it and believe it, would be to like letting go of your results, frankly, and like kind of letting go of hitting your number, and you'll see a lot of people get really kind of like tight, around the end of a period, like a month or a quarter, when they're kind of approaching their number and they start counting deals and being like, oh, if I just get these two, I'm going to hit my number, and then those two become super important, and you end up wanting it more than the customer needs it, and it kind of, falls apart and you lose your mojo, right? So the key for us is kind of like measuring inputs, right? And so the advent of conversation intelligence platforms, like Gong, allow us to actually measure quality over the course of several customer conversations. So like we're down to the level, like we know that, when we talk about ourselves and our company story, if that part of the conversation goes over a certain amount of time, then the customers generally lose interest and conversion rates go down. So we can track, how long are we talking about ourselves on a call, and knowing that like, more is not better in that scenario, right? We can track, how soon price is coming up in a conversation, and whether that's optimal based on where the customer's buying cycle is like. So there's a variety of things that we measure qualitatively that is, kind of above and beyond the table stakes sales metrics that everybody's accustomed to, which is like, how many meetings did you have? How many, what percentage of those went to your pipeline? What percentage of your pipeline did you close? And how many opportunities did you have? Like that kind of stuff. We certainly measure all that, and that's directional for training. But I think the unique thing that we're doing here is trying to provide some science around the qualitative aspects of the job, and tracking that over a period of time, and circulating that with also the rep and the manager and the sales enablement team, so we have kind of a comprehensive plan for every person.
Yeah, wow, that sounds awesome. I mean, I appreciate your time today, and I think we all learned a little bit more about how to build and coach an awesome sales team, and you've done a wonderful job here at Copper.
Oh, appreciate it.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found that informative, and stay tuned for our next Fireside Chat.